Hey there, it's a me, Blocko. It's time for a brief history of Nintendo. Nintendo was originally founded in 1889 to produce handmade Japanese playing cards. Between 1963 and 1968, Nintendo opened a taxi company, hotel chain, and even a food company selling instant rice. All of these eventually failed, but hey, at least they tried. The first few arcade titles by Nintendo was EVR Race in 1975, Radar Scope in 1979, and Donkey Kong in 1981. Nintendo's first handheld games were called Game & Watch. These started production in 1980, and 43.4 million units were sold worldwide. In July 1983, Nintendo released their Famicom system in Japan. This was their first cartridge-based video game console. It sold over 500,000 units within 2 months. Unfortunately, Nintendo decided to recall all the units due to a malfunctioning chip, which ended up costing them around $500,000. Ouch. In 1985, Nintendo announced that they were bringing the Famicom system to the worldwide market. It was sold under a different design and under a different name, the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES. The same year, a little game called Super Mario Bros. Was released for this console. In 1986, Metroid and Super Mario Bros. 2 were released, and 1 year later, The Legend of Zelda came out and gained popularity very quickly. In 1988, the first issue of Nintendo Power came out. It was a monthly news magazine from Nintendo that was used to advertise new games. In 1989, the Game Boy premiered, along with the accompanying game Tetris. The Game Boy eventually became the best-selling handheld game system of all time. The Super Famicom was released in Japan in 1990 and a year after to the US under the name Super Nintendo Entertainment System. In 1995, Nintendo issued the Virtual Boy. Nintendo sold it as the first portable 3D gaming system, but it was a huge flop. They discontinued it 1 year later, but that's okay because on June 23rd, 1996, the Nintendo 64 was released in Japan. It sold over 500,000 units on the first day of its release. It sported a 64-bit central processor and, at the time, awesome 3D visuals. Also in 1996, Pocket Monsters, known today as Pokemon, was hatched from the egg. The first games for this series were Pokemon Red and Pokemon Green, or Blue for the international release. Oh, and by the way, it's the second best video game franchise of all time, with 260 million sales. On October 13th, 1998, the Game Boy Color was released in Japan and in North America and Europe 1 month later. Nintendo released the Game Boy Advanced on March 21st, 2001. They also released the Nintendo GameCube console in the same year. The GameCube was home to several popular titles such as Pikmin, Luigi's Mansion, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Smash Bros., and The Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker. The Nintendo DS came out in 2004 and received over 3 million pre-orders. In addition to the touchscreen, the DS could create three-dimensional graphics similar to those of the N64. The Nintendo Wii was released in November of 2006. The console sold extremely fast and was a huge breakthrough for Nintendo. The Nintendo 3DS was released in early 2011. The 3DS did not use 3D glasses for its 3D effect like many other products at the time, and instead used an auto-stereoscopic display technology called a parallax barrier. That's a mouthful. As of June 2014, it has sold over 44.14 million units worldwide. The Wii U was released in late November of 2012. It's Nintendo's first console to be able to play games in 1080p HD. It featured a new controller with a touchscreen, an accelerometer, gyroscope, camera, and a built-in microphone. That is a lot of history, and we didn't even get to cover everything. Do I smell a second episode? Got a favorite video game? Favorite console? Let us know down below, or tell us. What should we talk about next? I'm Blocko. This has been Life Noggin. Don't forget to keep on thinking.